Hey, January 15th. It is another day with the Good Book Club. Here we are. I'm at home, end of the day, but we are on track with the third chapter of John, verses 22 through 36. After this, Jesus and his disciples went into Judea, where he spent some time with them and was baptizing. John was baptizing at Aenon near Salem because there was a lot of water there, and people were coming to him to be baptized. John hadn't yet been thrown into prison. A debate started between John's disciples and a certain Jew about cleansing rituals. They came to John and said, "Rabbi, look, the man was with you across the Jordan, the one whom you testified is baptizing, and everyone is flocking to him." John replied, "No one can receive anything unless it is given from heaven. You yourselves can testify that I said that I'm not the Christ, but that I'm the one sent before him. The groom is the one who is getting married. The friend of the groom stands close by. When he hears him, is overjoyed at the groom's voice. Therefore, my joy is now complete. He must increase and I must decrease. The one who comes from above is above all things. The one who is from the earth belongs to the earth and speaks as one from the earth. The one who comes from heaven is above all things. He testifies to what he has seen and heard, but no one accepts his testimony. Whoever accepts his testimony confirms that God is true. The one whom God sent speaks God's words because God gives the Spirit generously. The Father loves the Son and gives everything into his hands. Whoever believes in the Son has eternal life. Whoever doesn't believe in the Son won't see life, but the angry judgment of God remains on them. So, indeed, baptism is not a new thing with John. The idea that it would be done once was very new, but the ritual cleansing that preceded the baptism was a repeatable thing that people would do to prepare themselves to enter the temple, to prepare themselves for worship, to prepare themselves to be in communion with God. So John's doing this out in the wilderness is a little bit peculiar, but yet it doesn't take very long. People are like, this is the way, and they are defensive of John's way insofar that when someone else across the way starts doing it, they come and say, hey, someone else is doing this. Should we go stop them, basically? John is quick to say this, first of all, that's the thing I was getting you ready for, so don't go stop it. But more than that, it kind of indicates, it's not unlike, or reminds me of this story later when the disciples come to Jesus and they're like, hey, we saw some people doing things in your name and we stopped them because you hadn't authorized them. And it's kind of the sense of if they're doing good things in the name of God, don't stop it. Something for us all to remember as we make our mark in the world, and as we endeavor to be Christians, that we might have differences or objections even about how things are being done in another church or another place, that if it's being done in God's name and it's bringing people closer to God, that it shouldn't be stopped. It probably ought to be celebrated. And certainly there's some complication in modern times in examining this. In fact, we had a great conversation at Ascension today as we took up Searching for Sunday, a new book study, and the first section was on baptism, and I got to hear a lot of people's baptism stories today, some familial stories and others very personal witnesses to what it was like to step forward at an age of reason and participate in a believer baptism. So we find a great place here in these scriptures. I'm glad that you are here. Thanks for listening, participating in the Good Book Club, and we'll see you in church.